Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Talmbout Rasslin right here on the Black Phoenix Network. I am your host, the untouchable J.R. Atkins, and this is your primary destination for wrestling conversation. And oh boy, do we have a doozy this week. First of all, I want to thank everybody that tuned in last week to the debut episode. Of course, it was not a visual episode necessarily, but it was an audio podcast. Didn't have all the bells and whistles together, do everything I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be. But we are here this week. You get to see my lovely face. And we're going to talk a lot of WWE because a lot of WWE news happened last week. I mean, WWE, one thing about it, WWE is on WWE. So we're going to talk about SummerSlam, the results of SummerSlam. We're going to talk about, I'll be honest, I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown, but I kind of know what happened. We're not really going to talk about those per se. I don't want to get into a lot of reviews on this show. But maybe here and there where it counts. I would love to talk some AEW, but there's so much stuff happening with WWE. Who knows, right? So we're going to talk SummerSlam. There was a lot of surprises going in and out of something. We're going to recap my picks and see how I did. Not that well, actually. And we're going to talk about the big news. Well, a couple of the big news, a couple of the surprises coming out of SummerSlam, and one of the big things coming out of WWE this week with the ESPN deal. Yes, we're going to discuss it as best we can. So sit back, strap in, and get ready. We're going to do the thing. I don't know why I sent that like it was going to be some transition right here. Maybe I should do a quick transition there. I don't know. So we're going to start with SummerSlam weekend. Okay, so I was tuned in for something. First of all, just a quick aside, WWE events, really all wrestling events these days, I tend to end up just watching in the comfort of my own home. They hadn't always been the case, right? I used to be a Dave and Buster's used to show the pay-per-views. And at one point, especially with AEW, they were showing the AEW pay-per-views in the movie theaters. Now, most of the time, it was either just me or like a couple of other people. The only time I went to a movie theater to watch an AEW pay-per-view and there was a crowd was Double or Nothing in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. And because I went into Atlanta to see that the theater was packed. I had to get a seat down. Like, I didn't think it would be that way because I know how it is in Memphis. I went in Atlanta, and the only seat that was available was like down in the front. It was that kind of bad. Anytime you go somewhere and that's kind of thing like a movie, that's a big deal. And I think that's a good deal. I've heard that WWE is going to start doing that as well because AEW doesn't do it anymore. So I heard that WWE was going to start doing that. I think they did it for this SummerSlam, and guess what? Not here in Memphis. Womp womp, right? No big deal. So that's actually my preferred way to watch pay-per-views, but Dave and Buster's would be some. Okay, I'm not going to use that word. At least not right now. Dave and Buster's is whack, so they don't do that anymore. So I usually watch in the comfort of my own home, which is fine. It's fine. Doesn't really it changes the experience just a little bit because I like the crowd aspect. I like to see other people getting into it and doing that kind of thing. So it's cool. So again, neither here nor there, but just something to mention. I thought SummerSlam overall was pretty decent. It was pretty good, right? There were some decisions that happened that I'm like, oh, that was a choice. And then there were some decisions that were like, wow, that. Again, for those that don't know, I am a paid AEW shill. Shout out to What Culture. That I am, and I don't hate WWE at all. Actually, I'm a huge fan. I love wrestling. I'm one of those people who loves wrestling, regardless of where it comes from. Right. So this was this was good for me. However, it is increasingly difficult sometimes to support this company for whatever reason. For different reasons. And it's been there, and it's always been problematic, and it's always been a thing that I've had to like. Okay, sometimes for creative, other times for real life stuff. Increasingly difficult to support this company, and again, I mentioned in the last episode how I am a fan of the alternative. Right, I love WCW, I love TNA when in the early 2000s to late 2000s all the way up to like 2010. I think somewhere in that range where I stopped 2010, 11, 12 maybe. Whenever AJ Styles left, I think that's where I checked out as well. For real, checked out. So I always love the alternative, and that's why I love AEW now. And you know, I'm amazed that TNA is still around because everybody thought they would be dead by now. Which is why it's always funny when people talk about the AEW dying because I'm like, look at TNA, okay? And TNA, well, anyway, we don't have to get into that. That's not what we're talking about. And I'm listening, so I don't want to waste too much time. But that's why I've always loved the alternative because it's so hard sometimes to support this company. And my support may be waning, not even waning, maybe out the door. We're going to be honest, maybe out the door. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna cover SummerSlam, we're gonna cover the news of the week, and then we'll see what happens. So let's get into it. All right, we're gonna start with SummerSlam. Like I said, overall, I think it was a good show. Some decisions, a couple of pretty good matches. I wouldn't say great. There were some great matches. I think if I take my bias off, there were some great matches. If it happened in AEW, I love it. But I always have my things about different people or different things that happen in WWE, so I have to kind of take that with a grain of salt too. So we're just gonna run down this card, run down these results, and then we kind of go from there. All right. So we're gonna start with what opened the show, which I would have lost my first prop bet, right? Had I went because my mind should have known. I should have known, but I thought egos wouldn't allow. But if you're booking the show, it makes sense, right? The show opened up with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Obviously, Jey Uso comes out first, so why wouldn't you start, just like with WrestleMania, why wouldn't you start the show in this huge stadium of these two nights with Jey Uso coming out and yeeting all over the place, right? This match was actually really good and a hell of a way to start. A lot of maybe strange character development with Roman, but maybe it's going somewhere, right? Roman and Jay pick up the win. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed do look formidable. They do look formidable against those two. So that's a huge thing. I think that served its purpose. And spoiler alert, the first part of my prediction came true. I called it. If you go back and listen, if you can watch, but if you listen, if you go back and listen, I called it. That's the first one, and I said, "Oh, I'm off to a start. Maybe I don't gamble. I don't sport. I won't say I don't gamble. But I haven't done any sports betting. Had I done this, I would have started off like, "Oh, I'm in the money," and then it would have went all to pieces. But I digress. So Roman Reigns and Jey Uso take get the win after Roman pushes Jay out of the way of a Braun Breaker spear and eats the bullet for him. And actually, it wasn't the first time. Like he took several bullets for Jay to get that dub. It was kind of a strange thing, but also kind of was like, okay, Roman's giving him his props. So I like that. I'm not sure where it's going, but I like it. That's probably the most I hear people talking about, like Roman's still a heel because he hadn't done anything different. He's still the same person, and that's true. That's very true. I think that uh, I think that's fine. I think this goes a long way in actually giving him that character development to be something different, right? So I think that's cool. That worked out really well. Next match was Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss taking on the Judgment Day for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss get the dub. Again, called it. I thought there was more. I think they like where this Charlotte and Alexa thing is going. I like where the Charlotte and Alexa thing is going personally. And I feel like in order to keep this going, for there to be more, they needed the tag team championships. Because if they lost, then what? Then where do you go, right? What reason do they have to? Especially if we're doing the "we're not friends" thing. The entire point of them getting to be friends, it feels kind of like a little bit of a rock and sock kind of thing, maybe to that degree. So if you're not friends, then what are you doing? What are you doing it for? So I think that they needed this win in order to, and that was my reasoning when I gave my predictions, that they needed this win to keep it going. I like a lot of this. I like the "we're not friends" and growing into that storyline and them growing into becoming friends. And it's kind of cute. There's a weird cutesiness to them. Like they're friends, but like they're friends who like pick at each other. Basically, they nag each other. They just so they do little stuff like chill, block her out or kind of tap her on the head. Like it's like Charlotte's always kind of picking, but they're always picking at each other, but it's in that friendly way. Some of us have friends like that who do that kind of thing. So, so there's a certain like cuteness to it. I'm like, okay, I like this. I like where that's going. I like that entire thing. It's really cool. So Charlotte Flair and Alexa, I'm not even sure how many times Charlotte and Alexa separately have held those tag team championships, but good on them. Good on them. Next match was Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, and this is where it starts to fall off the rails for me. Okay, because I just knew. Because my belief is, I still believe this. My belief is that Karrion Kross already signed the deal. I don't know when he signed the deal, but I'm sure I'm of the belief that he signed the deal already. So he needs to win, right? He has the momentum. He needs to win. They don't give him the win. They don't do the thing. I don't know why they don't do the thing. Sami Zayn wins, and he wins pretty cleanly, pretty fairly easily. There was no drama. The only drama was like Scarlett handed him a pipe that Karrion Kross introduced. Scarlett handed him the pipe to appeal to his inner demons, and Sammy just kind of goes, "No, I'm not gonna do that," and then just wins with a haluva kick. Okay, I guess. I don't understand. So I don't understand, but I feel like maybe I do, because WWE likes to manufacture stuff sometimes, and I'm like I said, I still believe Karrion Kross has signed a deal already. I think because a lot of people are speculating, like if he hadn't signed a deal, it makes sense for him to lose this match the way he did. I think that this is another one of those WWE manufactured situations where his contract's gonna go out, the fans are gonna we want Kross, and then they're gonna bring him back, and then maybe he'll get a sizable push finally. Again, so much of WWE these days is trying to work the fans, but not in the way that they've always kind of worked the fans, but like in a way of hey, we're smarter than you. We know what you want better than like it's this weird thing of trying to get in front and being so vocal about it. And Triple H is good for that, man. Like, you know, so good for trying to, hey, you just gotta let it play out. And whatever. So I feel like this may be one of those things. Sammy looks like he's moving on to maybe the United States Championship, which is I don't know if he's even held that or not, but that's not where he is. But I guess he's not in the position to challenge for any of the other titles that he could challenge for right now. Because we keep saying Sami Zayn's on a world title trajectory, and they were really big about that on commentary. So I gotta think that that's where he's heading, but where does he fit into those kind of plans? I'm not sure. So that's strange. But got the win here. It was a decent match. The wheels continue to fall off as Tiffany Stratton defeats Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. You couldn't tell me this wasn't Jade's time. And I don't even listen. I might have mentioned this before. I'm not even that big on Jade, right? Like I get the thing. I get why she's the thing. I get the thing and why she's the thing. But I'm not that big on like Jade as a there. So full transparency, there was an interview that she did, and it might have been in her first few months in AEW, in the AEW podcast that they do. That at the time it was Aubrey and Tony Schiavone, and something about their interview, she just kind of came off kind of something to me. Didn't stick, didn't, and ever since then, it's just like kind of been off-putting when I see it, right? I get the presence, but she's not great at promos. She's not great in the ring. She's serviceable, but that really doesn't matter for a lot of people, and it doesn't matter for like the Hulk Hogan. I mean, Hulk Hogan wasn't great in the ring. I mean, guess maybe for his time, for what wrestling was then. So I mean, being great in the ring is not a WWE prerequisite. It's good, but it's not like oh, you're great in the ring, so now we're gonna make you the guy. That's never how that works. Jade, for what she could have been in AEW is one thing, but what she could be in WWE is absolutely another. And I think she's becoming that. This wasn't the night. I don't know if there's anything behind that. I just think that it just wasn't her night. For whatever reason, that decision was made. But it made more sense. If Naomi hadn't cashed in, then you could have did the thing. So maybe they're just like, well, now what we do? Well, there's no reason to. Because then you could have done the thing and then done the whatever. But again, maybe I understand. The match was pretty decent. Again, the question here was always like, who's going to lead this match with two essentially rookies? Like, I think they said Tiffany's probably been wrestling a shorter amount of time than Jade has, if I'm not mistaken. So that's interesting as well. And for her to be where she is amazing. And I guess not to make a comparison, but the comparison's there. They do seem maybe not light years apart in where they are, but it is what it is. And all of that is no shade to Jade necessarily. Just my personal opinions and preferences, and what you're gonna do. Next match was Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul defeating Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Again, the wheels falling off. What in the... Apparently, this was supposed to go the way of Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. And Jelly Roll goes, the celebrities always win this match. I think I should lose. Jelly Roll made the suggestion of losing this match. That is actually very noble. Not good for my prediction. The match itself, it did what it was supposed to do. You know, Jelly Roll had a few spots. Jelly Roll actually took a lot. He didn't do a lot, but he took a lot. He took a Claymore. He took a beating from Drew and Logan. He took a. I don't even know if Logan is doing like a frog splash or just a splash. It's like a frog splash. Logan did his little frog splash he does from the corner to the announce table. Jelly Roll took it. Bro, dude, it was funny because you could see, like, I was like, you know, being a wrestling fan for so many years, you tend to watch for cues, and some of those cues are a little more transparent when it's somebody who isn't in there all the time. Jelly Roll is on the table, and so I'm thinking like, well, he's not going to take that because that's not the thing, and like in the pacing of the match, it's like, well, he's not gonna take the splash, right? Logan Paul's taking all this time to set up, and everything is happening. He has his primes, and he does the Stone Cold thing with the prime or whatever. And I'm thinking, but he's gonna move. And then I look at Jelly Roll on the table. Jelly Roll is, you can see him bracing like, huh? I was like, oh, he's taking that. Jelly Roll's taking that one, baby, and he takes it. Takes all of it. Takes every bit. And hey, look, good on him. Good on him. He took it. I like celebrity. I do think sometimes WWE overdoes it, but WWE has been doing this since the '80s, right? Since the first WrestleMania and probably even before. So it's fine. I like it when the celebrities actually want to be involved, um, want to be in the show, and want to actually cooperate. So that worked out really well as far as that goes. And then he chose to lose, which again, a lot of celebrities won't do. So I mean, good on him, right? Good on him. Randy Orton actually didn't even do much in this match, and if he did, I guess because he wasn't the focus, we didn't notice. He got an RKO off. That was like the most notable thing. But then that RKO led almost directly to the finish. So go figure. Um, again, I by this point I'm just lost. Main event time, and this brought it all together. This brought it all together. And I'm looking at the results on WrestleMania, and if I go by this, I actually came out okay. I came out ahead instead of breaking even. Depends. So we got CM Punk defeating Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, which I called. That one I got right. So that would bring me to 3-3, right? 3 that I got right, 3 that I got wrong. The match itself, brutal. Gunther doing Gunther things, beating the shit out of CM Punk. I personally love to see it, and if you missed the last episode, just go watch the last episode and you'll see why. Beat the shit out of Mr. Charles Montgomery, Mr. Cookie Monster, pummeled him. Love to see it. I love to see it personally. And then, basically, Gunther slips on a banana peel. Punk hits a couple of go to sleeps and beats him. Okay. That's what I saw coming. Like I said, the one thing I said was I know there is no chance of Gunther leaving SummerSlam with that title. And he didn't. But neither did CM Punk. CM Punk's in the ring and he's celebrating with his World Heavyweight Championship and yay, rah, rah, rah. Burn it down! Out comes Seth Rollins. But Seth comes out on crutches with his leg wrapped up like it's been for weeks now. And out of nowhere, he comes out and he kind of menaces at Punk. Menaces. Oh, you just wait. You just wait till I'm off of these crutches. I'm coming in. Oh, I'm gonna get you, Punk. I'm gonna get you. And he turns around to leave. He drops the crutches. And he takes off the deep brace. And then he rips off his suit. And then he runs down to the ring. And he beats him with the briefcase. And then he hits him with a stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins is your world heavyweight champion. And let me tell you, as a guy who is not a Punk fan, it just was just it was fantastic. It was fantastic to see him get pummeled all night and then to lose. Just I loved it. I loved every bit of it. The AEW mark in me was just howling, just a howling. I loved it. Loved every bit of it. Not exactly the way I thought it would be done. But hey, either way, fine with me. Fine with me. The end justifies the means, or the means justify whatever. Whatever it is. Seth Rollins has cashed in Money in the Bank briefcase and has become the World Heavyweight Champion of CM Punk. The amount it's an old school level of keeping kayfabe alive. However, the only difference with like this and like stuff that would happen, like especially like in the 90s, 80s, or before, it isn't entirely groundbreaking that he kept kayfabe up that much, right? The only difference is the way that it happened. And I guess you have to do it that way because fans are smarter now. There's more access now. Things are a little different. In those days, we didn't have the internet. So you could, and fans believed, like we're talking about that era where like you could get stabbed because you were a heel or whatever. So, these things typically, would happen, right? And so now Seth went to another level because to work it, that he got injured in this match in a way. Oh, and it looked like I remember seeing videos of people like slowing it down and like, oh, you can see right there. That's where he hurt his leg. That's where he hurt his knee. It was on that move. Oh, it was on this. And then he called for the finish, and he threw the match so that LA Knight could win because he was injured. And everything about the way he was acting afterwards and all of that, like, hell of a job, right? And then he sold it. And he sold it to everybody. Like, this is one of those working the boys type thing, and a lot of people working the media and just all like he was out here, okay, given the performance of a lifetime. And so it's interesting, kind of the backlash. I don't care. It's fine with me. I don't have an issue with the way he worked the boys necessarily. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and it all worked out in the end because it got leaked. So there was always the idea that he was going cash in. So I mean, like I said, you gotta do what you gotta do. Right? So here's what it is. So with that brings me to 4-3. I came out on top. Okay, if we're counting the cash in as a completely separate match, like Wikipedia does, 4-3. 4-3. I'm just saying. That's a winning record. That's a winning score. That's a winning score. Let's move on to night 2, man. Night 2. I feel like night 2 actually was a little bit better. Maybe not even a little bit. Now that I'm looking at this, not even a little bit. Night 2 was a lot better. And that's not to say that I thought the night 1 was trash. Night 2 was a lot better until things got weird. And it got weird in the main event. But whatever. Opened up with Naomi versus Rhea versus Io. Essentially running back WrestleMania with Naomi as champ instead of Bianca in the match. Naomi comes out on top. Of course, I picked that one because the story continues of Rhea not being able to pin Io. I'm not sure where that's going or how. I know that it's going to eventually lead to Rhea actually beating Io. Because what's happening now is she's getting close, and there are things that will stop her from when it's not even that Io can't be beaten. It's different things are preventing her from getting the win when she actually has it. So now it's not, the same thing. So eventually this will lead to a one-on-one where Rhea beats Io. Because if you even doing it in a triple threat, I don't think like you get a little bit off of it to say, oh, I finally pinned Io. But then they're still like, well, you never beat me one-on-one. And then you have more there. So I don't think it may come like that. It may not. But it will eventually lead to Rhea getting the win on Io. And that's fine. That's we know storytelling 101 in WWE and wrestling in general. That's how these things work. As far as Naomi, let me tell you. To get a little candid here on the Black Fitness Network on Talmbout Rasslin, all right? So Naomi has this entrance, and she comes, and she doesn't even come. There's a guy playing guitar for her thing, and the guy ended up being her dad, right? And I was like, I'm few things actually make me emotional. And it's not even that I'm emotional. Like I have weak tear ducts or whatever. And sometimes I'm whatever. Don't judge me. Whatever. Okay? Wrestling does it to me sometimes. I love it. Wrestling and music. They do it to me sometimes. And maybe sometimes whatever. I'm a softie sometimes. Whatever. I'm not scared. Hey, okay. Bitch can whip my ass though. All right? You probably can. Whatever. So the range of emotions the range of thoughts and emotions that I went through watching this entrance from Naomi, I don't even like it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it at all. Because it starts out I see it, I'm like, oh, cool. Naomi's gonna have like a special entrance. That's dope. Because I actually don't remember too many special entrances from night one. So cool. Naomi's gonna have a special entrance. This is dope. This solidifies her as the champ. This solidifies her like this run. They're actually giving her, so that I don't think she's had for real on her own. So cool. She's getting a special entrance. Oh, cool. They're gonna have a guy playing guitar play her thing. That's pretty cool. I wonder is that the guy who played Jay's theme in AEW? Because I don't remember what he looks like, but I remember he's kind of a older black guy or whatever. All right, no. And then Michael Cole says the guy playing the guitar is Naomi's father. And just at those words, lump in my throat, eyes filling up, welling up. What in the fuck? Okay, I don't like it. Next thing you know, the tears are like, now like, wait, I'm trying to eat my wings in peace, okay? But now, they're welling and now they're coming. Okay, let me get my neck. Okay, now my nose is running all of a sudden. Why? Why? Why would you do that to me, WWE? Why would you do that to me, Naomi? Why? I thought we were cool. Whatever. Hell of an entrance. It was a hell of an entrance. And it's great to see Naomi get her flowers. Especially great to get to see her have that moment with her dad. Really, really happy. And really, really happy that Naomi is finally getting what she deserves. And she's killing this new character. She is hilarious. She's hilarious in a way that's hilarious on its own. But if you black, it's hilarious in a whole different way because it hits you different. So I love to see it. It's a strange thing, but I love seeing because I don't. we're not a monolith, right? So none of us are the same. Like it's that argument that like when you see New Day and you're like, what are they doing? They got them acting like some kind of like what? They're black nerds, basically, and like the black nerds are that way. You know, it's like so they are authentic in their way. I love seeing authentic black girls in wrestling. I love it. And for whatever that authenticity is, I love to see it, right? So I love Bianca. I mentioned that last week as well. Love Bianca. But her initial NXT run, that heel Bianca that's where I fell in love. It's like perfect. And then it just grew from there. But if she ever went back to that heel Bianca, it would be amazing. And maybe that's another reason why I feel like I can't get into Jade. Though I think Jade is being authentic too. But I'm thinking that same thing. Like I appreciate I appreciate what this authentic is. It's just not it's not something I would enjoy in my real life. And I guess that's what that is too. Well, like, but she's fine. She's fine. Fine. So I get that too. Like I think she's being as authentic as you can be in WWE. So to see Naomi's always been authentic in one way. Taking some of that and making it this new character, I think is I love it. I love where it's going, and I hope there's the rumor that like she's eventually not even a rumor because I've seen the interview where she talked about being on Broad Time. She wants to have kids, and so she probably won't be doing it much longer. If this was like her final run or whatever, hey, or this her final contract or whatever you want to call it, hey, look, good on her. Good on her. She deserves every bit. You deserve it. So, good job. Next, we're going to move along. I spent a lot of time there. Next was the 6-pack TLC match. Wyatt 6 retains. Call that one. 2 for 2. 2 for 2 on night 2, baby. All right. 2 for 2 on night 2, yeah, boy. I don't know if I did a little better than that. We're going to see at the end of the night. 2 for 2. Wyatt 6 retains. This match was a lot happening. And just like I said, I was doing a lot of no, a lot of that. But all in all, the match was really good. It's hard for these to be duds. Now, and then there was so much happening. There was like, I feel like some callbacks to TLCs of the past, with some twists that I think are pretty cool. Montez Ford is over AF. The Profits are over AF. My only fear, this is just a quick aside about the Profits. We're at a point, or we're getting to a point where you have to do something with them. Everybody wants the Montez turn. Well, not even turn, but just the Montez solo run because he deserves it. I think from what I've heard, I think I heard Bianca say this, or seen Bianca say this, that Tez does not want to leave Angelo Dawkins high and dry. And I understand, and I appreciate that. But man, we're getting somewhere. There's something that's gonna have to shake because that guy, he's got it. And I don't know what that do. I don't know what that does for Angelo because I can't. There has to be something else for him. I just don't know what. But and Angelo has definitely increased his work ethic, definitely increased his in-ring work, but I don't know if I could see it solo. So maybe you put him with somebody in another tag team, maybe. But then you get into like the thing he was doing at NXT. For anybody who's been watching NXT before the Profits, like Angelo's thing was just being in different tag teams. They couldn't find anything for him. He had that same look. He had the curse of greatness thing, and stirring it up, but like he wasn't doing anything. It wasn't until he got with the Profits that they found like, oh, this works. And so I understand, I guess, in that way that maybe Montez sees it like, yo, if I go solo, whatever. Ted's a cool dude, man. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him and Bianca in a perfect ass relationship. I hate it. I hate it so much. I've never been so jealous of somebody in my life. Never been so jealous of somebody in my life. Anyway, moving on. This match was great. A lot of car crashes, a lot of tables. Candice LeRae went through a table at one point in time. That was insane. I want to say Nathan Frazier, I think it was, went for the Edge to Jeff Hardy's spear spot with Tommaso Ciampa hanging from the apparatus, and Ciampa essentially pulls himself up to dodge the spear, and then just stays up there. The core strength, the arm and core strength to do that the way he did it, and then fearlessness to do it that high and not fear you're gonna die. Insane. Why 6 wins? They needed to win because, of course, they did. They just won the titles. We're still trying to establish them as a dominant force, so that needed to be done. Bravo, gentlemen. Bravo, gentlemen. Everybody showed out. If you need me to say, it was Andrade and Ray Phoenix, DIY, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, and of course the Profits. Everybody did their thing. I don't know if you would say this is another SummerSlam Classic, TLC Classic, but it definitely was a great match. I will say, well, the one that they had right after WrestleMania with the Profits may have been better, but this was just as insane, and it was only 16 minutes. I'm gonna put that up eventually against some of the other times of these other matches and see. But okay. Next match, Becky Lynch defeats Lyra Valkyria for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. What? Okay, it makes sense. Becky moves on. We didn't get a Bayley heel turn. Did I pick Bayley or did I pick Becky? I mean, did I pick Lyra or did I pick? I feel like I picked Lyra because of the stipulation, but I probably should have picked because I felt like I was calling the Bayley when the Bayley turn. Bayley did not turn. However, Bayley did cost Lyra the match. So, and I feel like I called that. So why did I pick Lyra? Okay. The match was interesting. There were some complaints. Listen, there's one thing about me. The way I watch wrestling, I'm not one to like complain much unless something like egregious happens. And my complaints are very rarely what the internet's complaints are. So a lot of stuff, whatever they're complaining about, like the whole thing with her being zip tied, it's like it happened, and like I like what people like to say, was I sports entertained? Good enough, you know. I don't know what people want. I don't know what people want sometimes. So there's that. But it was a decent match. They were kind of handcuffed because this no DQ, no disqualification, the no DQ, no count out aspect basically makes it a street fight, which was the same thing that you were gonna have in the main event. And so you don't want to double up. Now AEW is good for that, but AEW really don't give a look. They'll you know how they do. You know how they do. They'll street fight it up. So there's that. But we got, like I said, Bayley cost Lyra the match. I guess we're moving into Bayley versus Lyra going forward. Becky looks like she's moving into a thing with Nikki Bella. Matter of fact, I don't know if it's official yet, but I thought I saw that they were having the match at Clash at the Castle, or whatever it is. Or Clash in Paris, I think it is. So there's that. Okay, cool. It wasn't great, but it wasn't like bad at all. Um, it was good enough. It was good enough. There was some cool spots. Lyra hit this leg drop on Becky through the table that came like out of nowhere. And anytime you get in with a ooh, one of those, good on you. So there was some good moments, and there was a lot of like back and forth where like I don't know who's gonna win here. Feel like it should be Lyra, but and then Bayley made her appearance, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be Becky for sure now. I don't know why I picked that wrong. I really do. I feel like I picked Lyra, and I don't know why because I had logic against it. Anyway, 2-1, cool. Solo Sikoa beats Jacob by 2. Why? Oh, why? What are you about to do with Jacob? Jacob is over AF. You can't put him with Cody. You don't want to do that. Is he done with the MFT? What do you do with him now? What do you do with him now? Solo's moving on. Cody's doing something else. What are you doing with Solo? Not Solo, Jacob. I don't understand. Cage match was fine. I mean, honestly, it wasn't really a lot to write home about. And there's a thing, the idea of the cage match is to keep the people out. And I understand when you have like a faction, even with the cage, the idea is to, they'll come out and they're still going to try to get in there, even though it's supposed to keep them out. But I do feel that like defeats the purpose of the cage. And when they're able to actually get involved in the match and affect the finish, it kind of like it defeats the purpose of having a steel cage match. Because I like what for? Now, it's a tale as old as time. And especially it's so cliche at this point. It's been done so much. And it's one of my favorite spots in cage matches. But the swinging door aspect of things is always one of my favorite cage match spots. That either somebody's coming out and somebody closes the door on their head, or I actually like the inverse as well, where somebody's trying to come out and somebody's on the outside trying to keep them from coming out, and they kick the door open. I like that as well. In WWE, so many cage matches devolve into that, right? And I guess I'm not even going to say it in WWE because it happened in AEW as well. Because I want to say that Joe and Moxley match was the last cage match. And I want to say that had its own interference. Probably most AEW cage matches have had interference. Interference in a cage match just feels strange because, again, the cage is the point. So it should negate it somehow. I don't know. It's weird. It actually makes it worse because now that people actually openly will get involved in the match, in a cage match, in a way where they wouldn't in a regular match. The cage match actually makes it worse. That logic is strange, but whatever. Next matchup, Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. Of course, Dominic Mysterio wins. So that puts me at 5-2. All right. No. 3-2. 3-2. All right. Hey. Okay. The match itself, nothing to write home about. It's AJ Styles. He's going to do what AJ Styles does, and it's Dom, and he's over. What I will comment on this match, what is one thing you'll learn about me on this channel, on this channel. I am a fan. I love a callback. I love a Easter egg. I love all of it. I love that type of thing. I love the Marvel movies, the DC movies, because I love Easter eggs. and I'll watch it, and then I'll go. As soon as I leave the theater, I'll go watch New Rockstar, Screen Crush, and like, oh, what are the Easter eggs? Oh, okay, I saw that. What does that mean? I did see that. I remember that. I love Easter eggs. I love callbacks. I love referencing things that happened in the past. This being 20 years after the Rey Mysterio Eddie Guerrero ladder match, and the different callbacks to that match. I love it. Love it. Quick sip of water. Love every bit of it. Loved every bit of it. Dominic comes out. It's a little subtle, but he's wearing basically the same color scheme that Rey Mysterio was wearing that night. AJ comes out in a lowrider with his son, looking like Dominic, just a few years older back then. And he's dressed in full Eddie Guerrero style gear, almost exact gear that he wore that night in that match. Oh, I love it. I love it. They used to do this a lot on What a Culture, referencing the Easter eggs of the gear that everybody was wearing. I used to love, again, it's just like the Easter egg breakdowns for the movies, for the Marvel movies, for the DC movies. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And I would do something like that if I knew all the references, but I never do. So, that part of it, honestly, that's the best part of the match to me. And Dom wins in a very Eddie Guerrero way with a loosened boot. AJ goes to the calf crusher, of course, pulls the boot off. Very Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20. Yeah. Really, really interesting finish. Hits him with the boot, hits frog splash. 1, 2, 3. Dominic retains. 3 and 2. 3 and 2. So now we go to our main event. Okay.
The untouchable J.R. Atkinson. This has been Talmbout Rasslin. Happy Summerslam, everybody.
Nothing
Happy
happened.
SummerSlam.
They just fought. There's no Cody turn. There's no Cena turn. They just had the match. Cena just up and decided, hey, I'm a babyface now. And now he's a babyface. And they had a babyface versus babyface street fight? Okay. All right. So stuff, it was cool. Never really been a huge Cena guy, especially once he became Rainbow Warrior John Cena. Like, oh, Super Cena? Kind of out on it at that point. He was cool. Cool when he started, and then it played out fast with John Cena. So I'm not really interested in babyface Cena. Like, the heel run made me very interested. The idea of him being a heel made me very interested. And it didn't land, and I think it didn't land because whatever the original plan was, they couldn't stick to it. But it was a good match. It was a good match. As Street Fights go, it was a good match. Cody got booed out of the building because I think everybody was waiting for the heel turn and ready to boo him, and then it didn't happen. And I won't say he wins clean, but I guess you can take clean for a street fight because he just hit him with some crossroads. I mean, again, the action was great. I'm not saying the match was the dud or anything like that. But again, I put in some perspective here. Again, the Cena thing played out with me in the 2000s, mid to 2000, like mid 2000s or so. Not even, yeah, not me because he didn't pop until 2005. But like by 2000, 8, 9, that was over. Cena. By the time he beat Shawn Michaels in Mania, because Shawn Michaels guy, I was like, yeah, I'm out on this. I'm out on it. He was just corny. I probably was out before that. He was just corny. They made him corny. He was cool, and they made him corny. So there's that. And then Cody, again, AEW guy. So I had my feelings about Cody. So I was like, yeah. But if you give me a heel turn, I can do it. That'd be interesting. Cody wins. There was a cool spot with them fighting, and like Cena has him up for AA under the stage, I guess, and then he comes up on the Cody Vader, and then there and AA. Again, good spots, played the hits, did the things. Everything was everything. People go home happy. Whoop de lee. What are you gonna do? No heel turn from anybody. Nobody shows up. Cody wins. Slinks off into the sunset with the title. John Cena's in the ring, getting his adieu. And who comes? Mr. Brock Lesnar shows up. And what? Okay. All right. Comes to the ring. S5's John Cena. Show goes off. A little controversial, right? Brock was indicated in the Janelle Grant lawsuit. He wasn't charged with anything. He wasn't officially, charged with anything. And in theory, you could say he didn't do anything wrong. There's been a lot of backlash to Brock showing up at this pay-per-view. WWE opening the door back up to him just by being indicated in this, right? There have been so many people who have been somewhat excommunicated for less. But again, also, not really. So, again, WWE has this weird, inconsistent history with things. That makes it difficult. That makes it difficult. Now, listen, I'll take a different angle here because I've thought about this, and to me, the Brock thing is interesting. But there are way more interesting things that have happened that I don't even say way more, but just when you take it all in totality, it's not even as shocking as people are making it out to be. Over the weekend, they showed this. So let's rewind a little bit. Maybe Thursday or Wednesday before it was Thursday. The Thursday because I was watching. Yeah, the Thursday before Summerslam. The Orange and Chief is having some kind of press conference, and who is standing there with the Orange and Chief is one Triple H. What? What? Now, again, not shocking. You'll be shocked to find out how many of your faves are Not just Republican, but orange supporters. 45, 40, whatever. Orange supporters. You'd be shocked to learn. But we were also talking about a predominantly white sport. So why wouldn't you? Right? I mean, Linda McMahon is in his cabinet, is the director or whatever of Department of Education and tasked with ending the Department of Education. So Triple H is part of this initiative for the American Fitness Challenge, whatever thing. The thing I think that Arnold did it. I don't know. It's a reinstatement of a program, but it's nothing that I ever even blipped on my radar down here in Memphis, Tennessee. Um, so there's Triple H right there, right next to Orange. Oh, and then at SummerSlam they showed the video. This video praising that, and Trips, they showed the video. The entire stadium boos out the building. And then the Brock thing. Now I'm not gonna go with like, oh, Brock's a sexual predator or whatever. Whether he's guilty or not, it's problematic, right? Brock got a weird case. Why is he around? And it just led me to, again, it's not a shock in any shape, form, or fashion, but it's just wild to see that this company is officially MAGA coded. And that is wild. So it's not, when you're standing next to somebody who's more than likely on these Epstein files, alleged, I won't even say allegedly, I believe he's on files. That's me. When you're standing next to somebody who's in the midst of that, a little Brock Lesnar is nothing. At this point, you probably bring back Vince. Don't you want? Listen, there was a whole movement in 2020. The speaking out movement. Bring all those people back. Why not? Why not? Where's your line, WWE? Where is your line? I don't think there is one. I don't think there is one. So, again, they make it hard. Now, listen, I didn't really watch Raw or SmackDown anymore to begin with. So, I mean, it's not a big deal for me. I keep up with it, but I hadn't actually watched anything. I'm pretty sure. Listen, between that and the next thing, because I spent an hour on this, I didn't mean to, but between all of this over SummerSlam weekend and the next story, I look, AEW is the place for me. And you know what's gonna be crazy? Because I'm gonna say something in the next segment that, yeah, eh, eh, you know. But anyway, all in all, SummerSlam was fine. It was a pretty good SummerSlam. Overall, I had a winning record here. We went 4-2 on night 2, which brings me to 8-5. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. So moving on, out of the fallout of that, Then AEW announces, not AEW, I'm sorry, WWE announces that they have inked a deal for WrestleMania and all the following and all the PLEs to be on ESPN starting in 2026, starting with WrestleMania 2026. So they're moving to ESPN and their new, what is it, DTC or whatever, streaming platform, I guess is going to be or whatever. Great, I guess. So we're moving off Peacock now. My question has been, what are they going to do with all the content from Peacock? Because it's not on Netflix. People have been making a big ado about what all it takes now to watch WWE in the way that it used to, and it is really funny. You know, in the '90s, you just had to have cable and maybe get a pay per view here and there. And I want to say it was that way in the 2000s. It's been that way for ages until the rise of the network. And even with the rise of the network, we were a proper country once. We were eating. We had the life as fans. WWE Network was a wrestling fan's dream. Okay, wrestling fans' dream. I would just have it on like. Look, I got internet because I didn't have Wi-Fi at my house or my apartment at the time. I got Wi-Fi just so I could watch the network. That's the reason I got Wi-Fi. Like I was trying to run it off of like a hotspot on my phone or something, right? And that wasn't working. So I got Wi-Fi just to watch the network. And it moving to Peacock was sad because I knew we had lost something special, and making it into just a section on something else wasn't the same as having a dedicated network for what felt like a network for wrestling, our own thing, because there was so much more than just WWE. There was ECW classic footage, WCW classic footage. NXT was the biggest show, was even better than Raw or SmackDown at that time. The takeovers were a thing. Like the network era was so great. Moving to Peacock felt like a downgrade. And it never, to me, I never watch it with the same happiness, joy, intent, contentment that I did while it was just a network. So Peacock was a downgrade. And now we're selling off pieces left and right. Now you have to have Netflix for Raw. At least cable for SmackDown. Because I don't know if there's a USA app or something that you can watch SmackDown. I don't know if there's an app that you can watch SmackDown. Also, you got to at least have some kind of cable, whether it's YouTube TV or linear cable or whatever. So, and NXT's on CW. The PLEs are now going to be on ESPN. Who knows where the content is going if you want to watch just whatever, a random Nitro from 97 on a Tuesday. They've opened up like the WCW vault, the WWE vault. There's an ECW one too that they haven't started yet, but it's registered already. They started all that on YouTube, and that's cool. And maybe that's where they're gonna. But do you know how much content that is that you would have to put on your YouTube, and how hard it would be to navigate? Probably that's a lot of content. Even if you split it up, there's a lot. So I don't know what the future holds for that. What I do know is the word is that this new ESPN thing is going to cost $29.99. Now you do get more than just the WWE pay-per-views. You get Actually, I don't even know what all you're getting. I probably should look it up, but I'm not a journalist, so but I know it comes with like some NFL stuff because they just purchased the NFL Network as well. So there are more perks than just the WWE stuff. And for $29.99, it's probably not that bad of a deal if you're going to partake in everything. I probably won't. I do not intend to migrate from Peacock to ESPN for $29.99. First of all, I don't have linear cable anymore. I had YouTube TV. I got rid of it. So that bill was becoming outrageous compared to what it was when I first got it. Because the price hikes is what gets you. Be glad I still have Netflix. And I don't even think I have Netflix for WWE anymore because, again, I don't even watch it anymore. I have Netflix for like the other random stuff. The conversation I was having, oddly enough, the morning that it was announced, I was having a conversation about I have too many subscription services, but I don't feel I can get rid of them because there's like one thing on all of them that I have it for. And the one that I have the most is the one that I don't have to pay for real because it comes out of it's included in my Wi-Fi phone whatever package, and that's HBO Max to watch AEW, and that's how I watch AEW. I got rid of YouTube TV. My thought was like, oh man, how am I gonna catch SmackDown? How am I gonna catch NXT? I'm fine. I hadn't missed it. Hadn't missed it at all. Hadn't missed a thing. I know what's going on in most cases. And I don't even have to watch recaps. I catch clips on YouTube. Raw, same thing. Did something notable happen? Oh, let me see what happened here. Oh, that's interesting. Moving on. Or it comes across my feed on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, whatever. So like, I won't be making the move. Nick Khan seems to think that WWE fans will make the move, but I'm not one of them. Sorry. I'm not saying the WWE has lost me as a fan, but again, it's hard to support this company when they make some of the decisions they make. Now, if we're looking at this fiscally, again, I used to go to Dave and Buster's for these pay-per-views, particularly AEW ones. And they don't do that anymore. And that has caused me these last few, really all this year, probably last year. Well, what was last year? Maybe last year too. But the AEW pay-per-views run $50 the way they did in the 90s. And thus far, since this has happened, I've had to buy every AEW pay-per-view or go. Because I was at All In Texas. I want to say that I bought Dynasty. I want to say that I bought Double or Nothing. I want to say that I bought Revolution. Which sounds crazy, but I'm sure I did. I don't even remember doing it, but I did. Because I saw all of those pay-per-views. And I lit up on all three of them, or at least two of the three. It started with me going to Dave & Buster's to watch. And then Dave & Buster's employees were being stupid. And I just said, screw it, I'm going home. And ordered it on the way home and watched it or whatever. And watched it once I got there. I would much rather pay that $50 to AEW every month for a pay-per-view than $30 for whatever this thing is with WWE. Because, first of all, and listen, I'm under no aspersion. I'm under no delusion that AEW probably is, just as maybe much of a supporter as WWE. But you know what? Not on my face. You know, like WWE has a history of that for me. I can't. I can't. So there's that to begin with. And I know that if I spend $50 on an AEW pay per view, then I am getting at least 8 hours of show. Maybe not, but at least 6, 7. AEW pay per views are notoriously long, and guess what? They notoriously hit match. The chances of having a dud on an AEW pay per view are very slim, and like there are very few. You don't leave an AEW pay per view going, oh, that was all right. Like, there's at least one, like, holy whatever, you know? There's at least one every AEW pay per view. So I have no problem shelling that money out for an AEW pay per view and getting my money's worth compared to what I'm going to get from WWE. Now, again, the quality's gotten a lot better. But there are too many things in WWE that I'm like, it may be Bianca. Bianca, Naomi, Jade. I don't think they're going to do anything interesting with AJ at any point. There's not a lot more that I'm invested in. You know what I mean? So I'm much more interested in what's going on with Swerve over in AEW. What's going on with Mercedes over in AEW. What's going on with Tony Storm over in AEW. What's going on with Kenny, the Bucks, the Death Riders, Hangman, MJF. Much more interested in that. So that's where I'll be. So we're covering WWE today, and I won't say that I won't cover WWE anymore. I'm going to cover whatever's in the news, whatever happened this week. It just don't happen to be what happened this week. AEW put on a really good Dynamite. This tag tournament's going up. There's the stuff with like MVP and the Hurt Syndicate. It's newsworthy, but it's probably not really newsworthy. So I'm not going to really even get into it. So AEW is cooking right now. That thing that I mentioned about watching wrestling with a little bit of okay, cool. Like my complaints are minor and not really the complaints of the internet. I watch AEW with very few complaints compared to just in general. First of all, that I'm not that kind of guy when I watch wrestling or movies. I like to typically take what I get. My rule with wrestling has always been: don't assume I'm stupid. And WWE assumes I'm stupid a lot. This isn't my first falling out with WWE. It's not even the worst. The worst was 2019. Fiend, Hell in a Cell broke me as a wrestler, as a WWE fan. Right in the time that AEW was becoming a thing. So that's how I got here. I mean, I was always going to give it a chance. I was always excited. But WWE sucked in 2019. Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins versus The Fiend was the most egregious thing I've ever seen. Close to the most egregious thing I've ever seen in wrestling. Spoiler alert. Next week's video is about more egregious things. And obviously enough, it's going to be about WWE. So this isn't the last WWE show we do. So we're going to cover WWE because we can't. I mean, why? It's the biggest. It's the NFL, the NBA. It's the big it's the number one wrestling company. Period. You can't not cover it. We're going to cover it. But it's a little difficult. And again, so that's why you won't see any Raw reviews. You won't see any SmackDown reviews, NXT reviews. You really won't see a lot of pay-per-view reviews after this. Probably. I'm sure I'll talk about Mania. I'm sure I'll talk about the Rumble next year. Because again, those are big events and whatever. Somebody will probably be showing it somewhere. So I probably will be watching it somewhere. And it's going to be realistic and honest about that. But it's a different vibe, man. It's a different vibe. But it's Team AEW over here. Team AEW over here. Now, I've held you a lot longer than I wanted to. There was more I wanted to get into, but we're up on time. This actually has gone a lot longer than I even wanted it to. I appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate you for listening to me rant and rave for well over an hour now. Where we at? Almost an hour and 20 minutes. Actually, an hour and 20 minutes. That is crazy. So if you've listened this long, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my voice that is trying to leave me. We're working out the kinks here at the Black Phoenix Network. We're trying to get everything together. This is the second episode. I think I got my little setup together, but we're working on it. It's very rigged right now. So I want to get that together. We're working on it, man. We're going to get there. Like this is the beginning of a journey that I said I wanted to go on for a long time, and here we are. Here we are. Eventually, I'm going to have guests on. So we're going to do that. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Share it in Facebook groups. Share it on Substack. Share it on YouTube. Share it wherever you can share it. Let your friends know. The more people that tune in. Once we start getting more people in here, I'm actually going to start doing these live. Okay, and that's really going to be dope. That's really what I want to get into. So make sure you tell whoever you can tell. Tell everybody. Tell your friends. Hide your kids. Whatever. Don't do that. Tell your kids. Bring the kids. I'm trying not to curse that much. So we're going to start having guests. We're going to start going live. Next week, actually, we'll go ahead and tell you next week's episode is going to be our first kind of countdown episode. Pretty sure that one's going to run under an hour. We're going to try to keep it that way at least. It's going to be like a top 5. So we'll try to keep it succinct. Make sure you tune in. This Monday coming up is going to be the first in my audio series, which will be Manifesto Mondays. Okay, it's going to be an audio series. You have to tune in and see what it's like. It's a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of music, really giving some background and some insight on some of the songs that I've made. Also, if you would like to even hear some of the songs that I've made, you can check me out on Spotify. Or you can check out my brand new album, Black Phoenix Ascension. It's not brand new, but it's what I'm pushing right now. Black Phoenix Ascension on Bandcamp. It's BLKFNX, like the network. Ascension on Bandcamp. The name is money, MONE. Multiple aliases are going to pop up on this channel, just so you know. Also, every Wednesday we're doing What's Up Wednesdays, where I'll be dropping an article on the Substack. Different topics about whatever's in the news this week or whatever's on my mind. This past week was about relationships and the effect that podcasts and social media and even reality TV have on relationships and dating. The week before that was about Terry/Hulk and the real complicated history of Hulk Hogan and why it's so complicated, especially for Black people. And again, as we grow, we're going to add more content. We're going to get bigger. I want to get bigger. So please tell your friends, like, share, subscribe, especially subscribe. I think I'm at 9 subscribers. I think I am. I need one more. I want to get to 10 by the end of the week. So I'm setting goals. I'm setting my goals. I'm growing slow. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Every Saturday, we'll be right here talking about wrestling. The more people we get here, the more subscribers I get. Once we build up a nice little audience, we're going live, baby. All right. We're going live. Hopefully I have guests. Hopefully I can get comments, questions. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to join the conversation, anything you want me to address, anything you want me to cover, hey, say it. I'll bring it to the forefront. We're going to do the thing, all right? Thank you so much for supporting my Substack. Again, like, share, subscribe, and thank you for tuning in to Talking About Wrestling. I'm your host, the untouchable J.R. Atkins, and this is your primary destination for wrestling conversation. This is Talking About Wrestling on the Black Phoenix Network. Until next time, we are out.